pay more attention to the spiritual guidance. There's a John Lennon song called Let It Be. And when you feel stressed out, it is so much easier and healthier to just relax within myself and say, okay, let spirit life take it over and handle the whole thing, and expect positive outcomes from every negative thing. My name is Sherie. I'm 81 years old. Of course, I'm not working anymore except on the spiritual side of myself and helping others as I can. That pretty much sums me up, I think.
Cool. That's awesome.
I contribute by doing anything I can to be helpful, anything I can to show love, understanding. My vision quests taught me that this earth herself needs love and care. All the life on it, trees, grass, everything is so polluted with chemicals now. And with that pollution, I use my spirit energy. My Indian name is Mother Helper, because I'm a helper to and for the Earth Mother. And sharing my spiritual energy and beingness with the Earth Mother, is my main goal. I've been doing this for a few years now, and I always have the right spiritual guidance. And the energy and love that I'm sharing with the spirit world and the Earth Mother, I think is helping to heal. We need to take care of this earth. We need to take care of all the life on it. We're not here to destroy it. We're here to care for it. So my contribution is everything I can do to help the earth. That comes first. And I go to sleep feeling grateful for all that I do have. I'm living in the bottom end of the poverty level, for God's sake. I'm right down there at the bottom end. And it is not easy. But yet, I have everything I need. I have a place to live. I have food. I have friends. I have many people that call me grandma that I love dearly, including you. And that is what helps with negativity. And yes, I do feel negativity on a daily basis. And that's how I deal with it. I'm just, okay. This is a very negative situation. But let's see what happens. And it works. Since they told me in the hospital that I could die at any time, I've been completely comfortable with it, 100%. And there goes the negativity about it, the worry that, oh my God, what's going to happen next? Is this cancerous? They're having me checked for cancer now. Oh my God, what next? Instead of that, it's, okay, whatever. I know the spirit world, the God is taking care of me. Whatever. So, yeah, no concerns. The negativity goes.
Cool.
I was terribly sick when I first came home. I'm very weak, very shaky. I had to go back into the hospital twice because of passing out and pain. So yeah, it was very, very negative. But there again, I got through it just by, okay, let's turn it over to God. Positive things will happen. That's about it. God gave us each our own souls, and if we pay attention to that part of ourselves, that will guide us through this life. But it's my responsibility to go to that part of myself. It's my responsibility to question, to always ask for truth and love. Usually that part of yourself is found within the heart area. You find it in meditation. But when you know something in your heart to be true, then you know. So responsibility means taking complete responsibility for yourself and how you live your life, what you do. And I constantly search for just the spiritual life. I have recently been told, in February, that I could die at any time now. Thanks to Coumadin, a blood thinner for my heart conditions, my left kidney is swollen to at least twice its size and was bleeding. They had to take me off of blood thinners. Now without that, with my heart conditions, I can have a stroke at any time. So I'm living with the fact that I can die at any minute, either from my liver or from a stroke. And yet, I'm not at all stressed about it. I feel wonderful. If it's time to go home, death is going home. And if it's time for me to go home, I'm fully ready. So I'm completely relaxed about the whole thing. And the urologist that's working on my kidney has said that the swelling is going down and the blood clot is less than it was. So I think maybe this philosophy and this self-responsibility is helping me a lot. Well, I've been concerned about the conditions on our earth. There is so much hatred and negativity, and these young people are questioning. Many of them are on the wrong path, the path of hatred. However, all the hatred and negativity and crookedness that is showing up now with our world leaders and in our world, and all the people that are coming out as racist and hateful, this all has to be brought in the light to be dealt with. And I feel that is what is happening now. It has to be brought out into the open. It has to be dealt with, period. And when we reach the point that everybody on this earth can wish each other well, there will be no more fighting, no more hatred, no more wars. Just the world of peace and love and light we've been striving for. And once we get the negativity cleared away, then we can work on that. And if anybody comes to me for advice, let me show you. I Ching readings. It's ancient Chinese oracle. And these I Ching readings really amaze people. So if somebody comes to me for advice and help, I head for the I Ching and do a reading for them. I did one for somebody the other day, and she had never had one, and she was totally amazed at the accuracy and the advice given. I love the I Ching because of the spiritual guidance. You can find many, many different copies of it, but this one is the one that I found to be the most helpful. And that is an ancient, such an ancient Chinese oracle. It's prehistoric, actually. And it's used as a method of mainly having a conversation with your own soul. Other philosophies, there again, the nature philosophy that I learned on a vision quest in a sacred forest. That has given me a wonderful philosophy on life. As a matter of fact, one of the things I learned in the forest, I also learned from Jewish women in New York City. Now, I lived in Elmira, which is about 5 hours away by car. And in New York City, I was walking one day in Brooklyn from a friend's to a park, and there were these ladies on the corner talking. And they said, "Good morning," and I said, "Good morning. And how are you?" And next thing you know, you're in a conversation with them. Now, it wasn't gossip, bad gossip, which I avoid entirely. It was, well, what's going on in the neighborhood, and how's this neighbor, and how's that neighborhood, and oh, Mrs. Eidelman's grandson is only 17, and he has to have surgery tomorrow. Say a prayer for him. When I finally left them, it was be well, be happy, be blessed, be loved, be all things good, and don't forget to say a prayer for Mrs. Eidelman's grandson for that surgery tomorrow, with the full understanding that maybe I didn't know who he was, never saw him, never met him, but yet that God knew who I was talking about, and the prayer would go to the right source. And what I learned in the forest that was the same thing is leave blessings wherever you go. Always leave good wishes and blessings wherever you go. Wow. There is a forest on a hill outside of Elmira. The Tanglewood Nature Center used to be there, but then moved. Now you can't get in there anymore, I don't think. It's all controlled by the water board. But people that go there notice the strangeness. There's an ancient Indian medicine wheel on the top. And people that were at the nature center didn't like being there after dark because it's like they could hear drumming from that medicine wheel. And there had been any Indians up there for many, many years. And in that forest, basically on a vision quest, you need to go into nature alone. If you have somebody with you, your attention is on the other person, not on your own beingness and opening up to the spiritual voices around you. So going into that forest alone, I felt a wonderful connection with all kinds of life. A blessing that came from the trees was, may all of life's problems have peaceful solutions. So you seem to be able to connect with the spirits of nature. The guidance is wonderful. At the end of my first vision quest, I was given a blessing to use. And I was at the medicine wheel. And there are other places up there that are very unusual as well. And the blessing given to me was allow, open, bless, give, and receive everything there is to offer and receive. You have to open yourself to spirituality. You have to allow it. And from there on, it's like the spirituality will take everything and give everything. That taking and giving of blessings is they'll take everything. This earth will take every blessing she can get and return them. I had a communication from her at one time, and it was, how did that go? It was there again. Love, bless, give, receive, and take full advantage of every blessing that comes your way and pass it on. I grew up abused. My mother told me point blank that she knew she hated me as soon as she laid eyes on me. And mostly emotional abuse all the time she was alive. I got told I was totally worthless. All kinds of things. It was not nice. Now, later on in my late 20s, I think it was, I read a book by Jane Roberts, The Seth Material. And in there, Seth claims that we choose our lives before we're born into them for a purpose. Well, that made me take responsibility. If I chose a difficult life, there had to be a reason, and it was up to me to straighten my life out and cure myself. That's pretty much what I've done. It is self-responsibility. Then I did vision quests in what is known as a sacred forest, and there learned good stuff like there is no such thing as better than, there's different from, and we need to respect different from. No better than race of people, no better than religion, no better than sexuality. Every life deserves love and healing. And also, if the same creator has created all this life, then he's part of all this life. And how we treat other life is how we treat our creator. I don't want to go home and face my creator and say, yeah, well, I hated this, I hated that, and I was a horrible person. No, I want to face my creator and say, here I am, I did my best, now what's next? So that pretty much sums up the philosophy that has helped me to heal myself. And I know that people that are raised abused can be very hateful people, but yet I'm a very loving person. And I think that self-responsibility I took had a lot to do with it. I've always lived with anxiety, and I still have quite a bit of anxiety, and I'm working on that. As a child, one of the things, I was ridiculed constantly at school and at church. Now, my little sister was dressed in the very best of clothing from the best clothing stores. Me, I had to wear my mother's old hand-me-down dresses that she didn't want anymore or had worn out. She would just cut them off short enough so I wouldn't trip over them. And the ridicule that I had to live with. I wasn't allowed any friends. At recess time, I would hide in corners. And that challenged me to not ever let anybody else have to experience that. I grew up more and more and more abused, and that in itself is a challenge. And my challenge was overcoming all that, which I've done pretty well. And
How?
Other challenges, well, how they're again taking responsibility for myself. If I chose this life, I'm responsible for it. So the other challenges had to do with hatred, which I can't deal with. Civil rights movement. I stood with my black brothers and sisters. Got fired from the best job I ever had over it. I was secretary to the supervisor at the Association for Retarded Children. Those over me were Ku Klux Klan, and I was NAACP and hung with my black friends. So not only did they fire me, but they blackballed me from finding another job in Elmira again. So the challenge was there, who do I stand with? What do I do? And it turned out that, yes, they took my job. They did not take my self-respect, my dignity, or my pride in my beingness. That was one challenge that I overcame. It was not easy, not being able to find work anymore and having to go on welfare. I overcame that one. And then the other one was medical marijuana use, which I got in trouble for. But it's the only thing I can use for pain. I'm allergic to all the opioids, anesthetics, and things. So that's the only thing I can use for pain. And I do believe that God put herbs on this earth for our benefit. Now, I've had problems over using that. I got arrested in New York State over it. But here I am in California, and I stood up here and went to all the demonstrations and things, and there's another challenge that, okay, let's see what you can do with this. And I did, and I was successful. So, yeah, they are the major challenges in my life. I was terribly suspicious during the civil rights movement that I was mixed as well. It's one of those things, and that's something I knew deep inside myself. And knowing that I just had that feeling. And how was that again?
The question?
Uh-huh.
Well, anything you can elaborate on, whatever you feel talking about the subject, and what you think would inspire people to stand for one another and to be more compassionate. Whatever you have to offer. It's really whatever you speak from your heart. Don't mind my questions. My questions are just to get you thinking.
Okay. Well, the challenges that I have had other challenges in my life, of course. And with all of them, I just turn it over to my inner self, my soul. Turn it over to God, turn it over to the spirit world, and let it all be worked out, but always with the knowledge that there will be a positive outcome from every negative situation. And my inspiration comes from that part of myself.